Hello guys and welcome to Front Row Racing. We're at round 2, it's China, it's the WCR, World Championship Reserves, and it's go all again. Joining me this evening in the comms box is Lord JB himself, and we have another member. So Lord, how are you doing? And I'll let you introduce our third member.
I'm doing well. It's been a while since us two have been back together, isn't it?
Just a little bit, how you been?
I wouldn't know. I've been trying to talk to him, people, but he hasn't been responding. But we have a new person to come and play with us. GT5 King, how are you?
Hello, yes, I'm not very well, thank you. And it's great to be back in the complex with you guys.
We got our comfy seats back, haven't we?
Yeah, actually more comfier than when Dave and Steve were here last season. So looking forward. Hopefully it'll be better than last year. No offense, Dave and Steve, if you're watching this, by the way.
Nice stuff there, guys. Well, what I'm going to do now quickly is just run through the grid that we have in front of us this evening, and we will send them over to the track. One last thing, Lord JB, do you want to be our weatherman this evening down in the pit lane?
I shall. I'm going to jump in a McLaren because I feel like it.
Okay, well, I'll just run through the gentlemen that are with us this evening. We've got Danny Railton, he'll be driving a Force India. We have Lefty Hardtail, he'll be driving a Mercedes. Breaking Clays in a Red Bull, he's one of our World Championship drivers. Tarjam in the Scuderia Ferrari, one of our reserve drivers. RDB in the second Force India, he's one of the WCR drivers. Caribbean Crush is one of our World Championship drivers, he'll be in a Red Bull. Stocky is one of the World Series drivers, so he's allowed to participate in this event and have some fun. He will be in a Mercedes this evening. We have Kane Leander and Curly Whirly, teammates in the Haas from the World Championship. They will be taking part in this evening's event. And down at the bottom in the Haas, we have Maznat, one of our other reserve drivers. So, GT5 King, if you just want to spectate, and we... have we lost someone? Have we lost someone from the lobby?
I don't think so, no.
No, sorry, just check, guys. No, we haven't, my bad. Yeah, if you spectate up with me, GT5 King, and that indicates to the drivers we can get over to the track, and then we shall get this going. So, I've never been with you in the comms box before, GT5 King. How are you? What are you looking forward to around China this evening?
Hoping for once again a very clean race. Here I know it's been quite a few weeks since the last WCR race, but I'm very happy to finally get the full FRR circus underway. China is going to be quite an interesting one. Weather is going to be quite unpredictable, and with the new 2017 F1 cars, it'll be interesting to see just how aggressive the drivers will be here tonight on what is quite an aggressive track.
It will indeed. There's only a few decent opportunities to overtake around here. I'd say turn 1, possibly turn 5, and down at the hairpin. Other than that, I think it's one of these tracks that is kind of like follow leader. I mean, what's your thoughts, Lord, on it?
Oh, it is follow the leader. If it rains, you could possibly pass out of the last corner. If the other guy doesn't get a good start, he doesn't get a good run. I need to put my teeth in. I haven't done this for a while, but it is a difficult track. Tyre wear will be high, but you've got to make sure that you know what you're doing going into the event. You can't do it half-heartedly. You've got to know where you're going and know where to brake.
Very, very true. It's a bit of one of those circuits that does involve the mechanical grip of the car with Sector 1 and the tight hairpin coming into a excuse me, left-hander to exit the final corner. So it's interesting for the mechanical grip. Bit of downforce in the middle sectors needed with the high speed left and right. So I think it would be interesting to see how the drivers look to go about their business this evening, especially with some of the World Championship.
Nice long straights as well, don't we?
We do, so that's sort of touching on downforce there. It's one of those ones. Do you compromise and go low downforce for the straight and whatnot to overtake, or do you go high downforce for the middle and first sector? I mean, what do you guys do? I mean, I know my thoughts, and I'm going to stay a bit quiet after my performance last week.
For me personally, I like to go quite low on the aero side. Like I don't mind having quite an oversteery car as long as it's not understeering. Then that's obviously something that's not good. I don't think any driver doesn't that likes understeer. But yeah, I do get what you mean, especially on this track where the undercut especially can be quite high, and can be quite crucial in the race. And especially when it's raining as well. I remember last season in the WC race, it was raining, and I think in quali it was dry, and I was trying to pick the perfect balance between downforce, especially in the first and second sector, and then just keep low aero for the third sector. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what these guys can do for us tonight.
Oh, it will be indeed. If I remember rightly, the World Championship last season, you guys were on the verge of getting your boats out in the race, I believe. It was that bad.
Yeah.
Can I throw a spanner in the works?
Go on.
It's raining in the race.
Oh dear.
We have a wet race. It looks only intermediates on here. But also, if the wind picks up, we might just have a wet end to the qualifying.
Ooh, bit of mixed
Possibly,
conditions there. Bit of spice to the mix. I like that. I like that. I've got my
This
notepad
is where
out.
you're going to decide on your setups, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It is indeed. It's one of the ones that was brought up. Do you compromise it for the race, or do you go hell for leather and see if you can get away at the start? But I mean, it'd be interesting. You've been a bit quiet, Lord. I mean, what would you be looking at with the conditions you've just revealed to us?
For me, I'd go base setup because that's good all round. Just don't bother with any of the fancy stuff. Just go base setup and just go fast. Go as quick as you can in qualifying, and then in the race, hope to hell you don't end up swimming.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yes.
think also to add to that, a good thing about what I noticed in the beta, I was one of the beta players for the game before it came out. I noticed that because of the nature of the car itself, because it's very wide, very high downforce compared to last year, plus also the tires as well, which is even wider than last year, you can actually get away with winning slightly lower aero than last year because just the general mechanical kit of the car is able to make it down the fast, high-speed corners, particularly in the second sector. So I suppose, yeah, the drivers will be able to take a bit of a sacrifice, but will they be able to do it, even especially when it's raining in the race?
It'll be interesting. I think we'll have our answer to that question in the next sort of 20 minutes there, GT5 Ping, with how the race pans out. But I'm just on board with Tarjam, guys. The cars are finally hitting the track, so if you want to have a nose about and see what's what and who's planning to do what on what compound. We're just coming around to the middle sector, the fast left-hander. It seems like he's got a bit of understeer in the car, a little bit of a lock-up on the front rank, coming round into the right-hander. Double left-hander coming up. If you hit this nicely, it's like one long opening corner. Bit of a second stab there into the second apex, but nicely done. So coming up to sector 2, he's done a 24.6. Is that any comparisons out there at the moment, Lord JB, as Tarjan comes around the long sweeping right-hander to open up for the long back straight?
Well, he's quicker in sector 1 than Kane Ianda by 3/10, but Kane hasn't got to sector 2 yet, so I'll let you know.
Oh, good stuff there. But now we're coming down to the crucial breaking point. We're up to 2.7, 2.08. Ooh, just 2.08 as we come to about the 100-metre ball, slamming on the brakes. Maybe a little bit too much apex there through the hairpin, slightly compromising him on the exit. But as he comes down to the final corner, braking as late as possible. Coming down to 5th, one downshift, runs wide, slightly open up the DRS, and he has just set a 1:34.1 as the provisional pole time as it stands at present. Who are you on board with, guys?
I think Kane
I'm
Ianda's going to go faster.
Yeah,
His sector 2 is 28.2.
Well, I'm on board with him now, so as he comes around to the final corner, we'll see what he just does. His teammate from the World Championship, Cody Williams, just set the pace of a 1:32.8. Kane Leander exiting the final corner. He's coming up, it's a 1:33.7, so nearly a second off his teammate there. Interesting there. It's only a test session to them, but be interesting to see how the guys get on. And I've stayed on board with Kane, who's ran completely wide at turn 1 in China, which is a very, very vital corner around the track that you need to get right, because if you touch the grass out there, it seems to suck you off. I don't know about your guys' thoughts on that.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's true. It's very tempting to go as quicker than what the car can actually do into the first corner. And if you get it wrong, then that's the lap done before it's even started.
It is indeed. I've just jumped back on board with Stocky, one of our World Series driver guys. He's on the soft compound, so maybe looking to open up his strategy options going into the race. But he's coming around the final corner. He's going to complete the lap. A little bit scruffy on the exit, but nicely done on soft compound. It's a 133.6. He's put himself in between Kane Leander and Curly Wurly there. So nicely done there
Very
from
good time.
Stocky.
Well, that's interesting because he must know something we don't. Because if he's going for qualifying on these softs, he has just retired though. He must think that it's going to be dry enough to run dry tyres in the race.
Quite possibly. That's a good call there. Just setting in one quick lap. And like you said, did you say it may rain in this session as well, Lord?
It may just. It says 10 minutes. Unless the wind picks up, we're not going to get it though.
Okay, well, Curly Wurly's just improved his time, one of our World Championship drivers, by about 2-3 tenths there, so nice little time from him. I'm making notes, Curly, so keep it coming. I'm currently on board with Nazmat, who's had a bit of a problem down at the hairpin, got a very, very awkward line coming out. Is he going to complete the lap? No, he darts off into the pit, so... Anyone else out on the lap there, guys? GT5 King? Who are you on board with?
I'm currently on board with Danny Railton, currently in 8th place, going out, approaching the last corner now. You see he does a little bit of a corner cut there. Don't know if the game will allow it.
This lap.
I think it has. Well, it was slower lap anyway than his previous. And yeah, he still remains in 8th place. Also, just wanted to ask, Lord, when is the rain going to come in the race?
At the start. It's going to be a wet start throughout, by the looks of it.
Don't really know what Stocky's doing then, starting on the soft, unless he's taking a gamble off the game not being truthful about when the rain is going to come. I think I have actually experienced that last year where the game said rain will come in like the first 10 minutes, but actually came like in the first 5 minutes. So 5 minutes after the start, then it started to rain. So I don't know, maybe Stocky is taking a gamble, or maybe he's just doing it as a test session for his WS race next week.
Could be one or the other there. What we know about Stock is he does like to play games with the drivers in the reserve events, so likes to mix it up. See what's what as the race unfolds though. Be an interesting start. Turn 1, wet conditions in the race. It's going to be interesting. I followed...
Understeer heaven.
Oh yes, big time. I kept on board with Danny Railton as GT5 King took us to the end of the lap, and he seems to be a guy that's putting in a fair whack of fuel and going out and pushing like hell, trying to get himself as far up the grid as possible. So he may be coming in this lap for a fresh set of boots, but we'll see what's what with that. I've
With that
noticed
double lockup, I think he will be.
it will indeed. I've noticed RDB's on track, guys. I was wondering if one of you can jump on board and see what he's doing with himself.
He's doing a setup lap right now. I'll keep you posted. I'll stick on him. Let GT5 King go find someone else to do to do something.
I shall try my best.
Okay. Well, one thing I've noticed is old Lefty Hardtail's out on track. He's just about to come around to complete his flying lap that I've seen. Maybe just lining up for completing that flying lap. Not Lord, sorry, GT5 King. Would you like to take us around Lefty Hardtail's lap?
Yeah, so approaching turn 1 now. Oh, very understeering. Oh, he's lost it, nearly lost it. He's on the grass a little bit. And just as I was about to explain the lap, he's pretty much completely messed up his lap there. And I think that is...
Sorry to interrupt you there. RDB's gone for a spin. He's only doing a setup lap, and he's just spinning around.
Oh,
That's
wow,
not
interesting
good.
stuff there. Yeah, apologies about that, GT5 King. He just commentated curse one of our drivers there. Now he's retired. I think he's had a completing enough of that, but no, no worries. If you want to jump on board with someone else and see if they're on a hot lap, you're more than welcome to take us around a flying lap of China.
I'm actually on board Power Jam, going through the fast left and right. These two corners you can definitely attack with the new cars. You're keeping relatively close to the apex. A little bit of a lock up into the double left-handers. I can tell that the car back end does want to slide out a little bit. Maybe track temperature isn't as high as it should be. Maybe particularly because it's overcast. Going into the left-hander, bit of a lock up yet again. Maybe it's the game showing us as more lockups than before, or than is actually happening. 2 minutes left of the session, so those who want to go out have to go out now. On to the longest straight on the calendar. And topping up DRS obviously on, looking for the 100 meter board. Will he make the apex? Oh, just about made it there out of the second to last corner. Not a bad corner that was. Could be a competitive light time, could potentially be his time. Ran a bit wide. what's it going to be? It is a 1:33.2, only 7 tenths slower than Collie Wally, and he's in second place.
Nice little lap there, GT5 King. Nice little commentary over that. But yeah, it's looking good. He's just put himself into second there. Around 7.5 tenths off the Curly Whirly World Championship driver. So yeah, given the start, I'd rather be in Tarjam's position than a few of the others behind in the wet conditions coming up. Anyone else on the lap out there, Lord JB?
K9 has invalidated his, but he's going to get round to get into a second lap just quickly enough. RDB, on the other hand, after his long spins, and he seems to be burning his tyres out a lot, he pitted straight after. But K9 is continuing onto a lap. See if he doesn't crash this one like he tried to last time.
Okay, if you keep us posted on Kane Leander's lap. We're currently on board with Maznat, who's a little bit further up the road. I'll jump back there as soon as he completes his lap time. He's just gone through Sector 2 and done a 24.8. Not a bad time there on the super soft compound. As he comes around the long right-hander, it's all about patience around here. Take your time, let the car open up and apply the throttle as quick as you can. And now he's opened up the steering, got up into 7th on the exit of the corner, coming up to the DRS detection zone. Now it's all about finding that braking zone around about the 100-metre board. He's doing 205, 206, one of the slower drivers down the straights I've noticed. Just missing the apex. You can get away with it round here at China down there. As he comes up to the final corner, is he going to attack the apex? No, leaves a lot of time on the apex there, runs a bit wide over the exit there and puts himself into 7th place with a 1:34.2. Jump back to Kane Leander. What's going on there, Lord?
Oh, well, I've just been kicked into spectator mode, so I've got to find him now. He seemed to be sliding a bit coming through Sector 2. You could hear his tyres sliding a lot. They weren't enjoying the lap. But I think it's going to be pretty fast. I'm going to predict he'll end up about 4th, maybe 3rd, knocking braking K's off if he can string it all together. He's got the pace, but there's a bit of rain now on track.
It is indeed that rain you thought you wouldn't see. Lord JB has finally come, so I think the grid as it stands will stay the same unless someone can pull out an absolute belter of a lap time. And there's only, I believe, Kane's just finished his lap, not improved if I'm right. And we've got Breaking Clays and Curly Whirly, I believe. Oh no, Breaking Clays just retired, just Curly Whirly 4 we're waiting on, and we will get a confirmed grid order.
That's fantastic.
He's gone faster. Wow.
I think he's gone faster. I can't see because I keep getting blurs on my glasses. Give me a minute.
Yeah, he was on a 1:32.5, so he may have gone faster. I can't remember if it was exactly a 1:32.5, but he was there or thereabouts, so be interesting. But now we're just waiting for the time to count down. I believe no one else is on track, so unless we're waiting for Tarjam to retire, then we've just got to wait for a minute 20 seconds to pass by, and we'll get on with the event ahead with these guys starting in wet conditions. How long did the rain say it last?
I've got a little update from our dear friend RDB. He put in the chat just now. He said he was throwing away the tyres because of the wet race. He just thought he'd have some fun drifting.
Oh, okay. Good old RDB there. Never takes his racing too seriously. Gotta like that. Like that.
Another one from Curly Whirly. He said he was up on his time, but he lost 4 tenths in the final sector because of the rain.
4 tenths. Wow. Wow. I've just made a note of that. Thanks very much for the information there, Curly Whirly. Keep it coming, my good friend.
I was drinking, Dave.
No worries. Lord JB or GT5 King, will one of you, when the timer has counted down, we've got 30 seconds left, like to go through the race, or well, qualifying order for the race ahead once we get the official display pop up?
I'll let GT5 King do it. Breaking the uninitiated.
Okay. It's careful doing how you have to wait for the timer clock's down.
Yeah,
it's a pain.
One of those things that seems to have, yeah, it seems to have come back with the recent patch, but if it's what we've got to deal with to get on and go racing, then we'd take that one. So, but anyway, give us a few seconds, folks, and GT5 King will read out the official order very, very shortly.
Okay, so qualifying for the Chinese Grand Prix, it's Curly Whirly on pole position, with Tarjam just 7 tenths behind him in second place. Third place is Breaking Clays, just 9 tenths slower than him, and fourth place is Caribbean Crush, 5th place is Stocky, 6th is Keen Lyanda, 7th is Maznat, 8th is RDB, 9th is Danny Vilton, and 10th is Lefty Hardtail.
Just want to quickly say, don't get China and Japan mixed up on the broadcast. We don't want to open that can of worms.
There'd be a war. There'd be a war. Thank you very much for that, DG5 King. So, as we get ready, guys, 28 laps, I believe, we've got in front of us. Was there a point that this weather was meant to disappear away from us, Lord JB, or is it going to be light?
From what I saw, there wasn't. The strategy is a 2-stop and inters all the way. So it could disappear, but at the same time it couldn't.
Very, very interesting there. It's going to be an eventful race. I believe we've got 10 on grid. Hopefully they can all finish given the conditions. China's not been one to known to, well, known for one that's had a lot of incidents with wet weather, but you never know what it could throw up in F1 2017. So here we go, guys. Just about to get ready for the start of the race. So here we go, we're on board with Curly Willy, we're going to jump on board with Tarjam, 5 lights. And they're out, are we away? We are away. Tarjam's got a slightly better start than Curly Willy from what I can see there. As they're cutting down in the background, Tarjam looking to get the inside of wind. Looks like they're trying to go 4 wide. Nope, the Red Bull trying to squeeze into a gap that is not there, taking the Williams off. Ferrari Tarjam's found himself pretty much where he qualified after near enough making a move. The Haas has now lost it. I believe that to be... unsure. One of my co-coms could give us an update. That is that Kane Leander, but he's gone. Tarjam is in second, Caribbean Crush in first, World Championship driver. The driver behind him in the other Red Bulls, Breaking Clays currently, followed up by Stocky in fourth. Then we've got the likes of Curly Willy fifth, Danny Railton sixth. We've got the Mercedes of Stocky trying to get the inside of the Red Bull, Breaking Clays. World Series versus World Championship driver there. I'm unsure if Stocky's made the move. He may have to hang it all the way around the outside. No. And I believe it's all calmed down a little bit, guys. What have you got your eyes on as the World Series driver of Stocky and Breaking Clays World Championship go wheel to wheel right behind Tarjam?
I've just seen 2 people go wide, going through the left hand. I think it was Lefty Hardtail and Danny Vilton. But it was a rather scruffy start there, especially from Stocky. Basically effectively driving Curly Willy wide and making him lose 6 places. But as you can see there, Stocky going a very nice overtake inside of Tarjam into second place.
3 wide,
Crush,
3
look
wide.
at that. Into P1, into 3 wide, into the left-hander. And it looks like it's calmed down a little bit, but look at that, Breaking Clays, Academy Crush out of nowhere is now into P1, rather good gap. You can see behind him, Breaking Clays and Curly Willy, wheel to wheel. Can Breaking Clays make it into the hairpin ahead of him? Looks like Curly Willy braked a little bit later. And they're still wheel to wheel going into the last corner. This will not end real, but I think Curly Willy is just ahead of Breaking Clays as we end the first lap.
Here's indeed good stuff there. In the background we noticed RDB lost out to Kane Leander and moved down at the hairpin, and RDB come off worse, but he's still going. All looking good. I believe we may have Lefty Hardtails just veered off into the pit lane in the background. Other than that, Curly Willy's now trying to go back up the inside of Breaking Clays, and he's made it stick. Breaking Clays keeps his nose in there into the second part of the tight snail section on the exit. Who's got the position? They're coming out side by side the same way they went in, and Breaking Clays looking like to go and swing it all the way around the outside of Curly Willy down into the hairpin, or is he going to try a switch back? Well, Tarjam's just looking at this in the background thinking, guys, make a mistake and I'll come flying through, but it's looking good, all clean and tidy. Any incidents to report, guys, as I see a Force India of RDB in the background, a bit tail happy.
Well, I just jumped on board with Kane Leander, and he had 1 wheel on the grass. He's not enjoying these wet conditions. His setup seems to be fighting the car a lot more. We saw him go wide after the last corner. Sector 2, there's just been an incident. Oh, it's Maznat. He's gone for a spin.
Ooh, unlucky there. Maznat would just have been behind RDB, who's...
Force India's.
What did you see, GT? I'm
What's
there.
happening? Tell me.
Both Force India's, RDB and Danny Vilton had a bit of coming together, very much like real F1 actually. They're now approaching the right-hander before the long straight. Danny Vilton and RDB coming to blows through the double left-hander, just caught the end of it, but yeah, talk about copying real F1, 2 Force India's coming at it.
Very, very interesting there. There's, as you said, they're reliving the real thing, and now it's not over yet. We've got RDB who's in the slipstream, got a bit more straight line speed than his unofficial teammate here today. Is he going to have the... Yeah, he's going down the inside Not a great camera angle. He stayed tight to the apex. He's left a little bit of room there for the other Force India on the outside. I'd say that's full fair in love and war, but nobody ended up in the barrier. Guys, just in case you haven't noticed, Breaking Clays and Curly Whirly have not give this up. They're within 1/10 of each other. That looks like one hell of a cracking battle there between two of the World Championship drivers to keep an eye on.
Yep,
Sitting on board early.
Yeah, Breaking Clay still has front wing damage. He's losing part of his right end plate, which I know from experience, and I'm sure you guys will know as well, when you have front wing damage, especially in the rain, it is going to hurt you, especially as they go into the second sector now. And we can see there, Curly Whirly still behind him. I think he's going for overtake. Oh, don't think so. Big Blaze has covered him off. But I think this is potentially a battle that we will see throughout the whole race. Let's hope.
I'd agree with that, and I'll back up that little comment about the damage on the front wing. I had some last week in the World Championship event, and yeah, GT5 King is 100% accurate there. If you get any damage in the wet, you got to come in and change your front wing to be able to get any momentum back. But I don't know about you, GT. These two are two WC drivers we know on, with Tarjam in the background, just patiently waiting for his moment. Do you reckon that wing damage to Breaking Clays is stopping him from pulling away from Curly Whirly at the moment?
I think so, yeah. Potentially he could possibly gain something in the first and third sector where Aero isn't necessarily a big thing. Well, I say that turn 1, 2 and 3 is about big Aero thing. Aero section is Curly Whirly. I think it's in the substream, but I think he's changing his field mixes, but still not close enough. But the part of the track where Breaking Clays will feel the pain is definitely in sector 2 with those long left and right hand corners. That's where he's going to feel the pain, as Caribbean Crush sets the fastest lap of the race.
That is with
I've got to interrupt you now, guys.
Go on, yeah.
Maznat has just got past RDB, and he full on double locked his tyres on the front just to get past him into the hairpin. It was a beautiful sight, but RDB didn't give it up. Like, Kane has crashed out.
Yeah, on the start finish rate, effectively copying what I can't remember the Haas reserve driver did.
Antonio Giovinazzi.
Yes, he did exactly the same thing, apart from on the opposite wall. And yeah, the total of that. Let's hope there won't be any other copying of real F1 drivers this race.
Well, here's something interesting.
Go on.
Lefty Hardtail has come in to change his front wing, so I'd like to know where he got his damage from.
Ooh, that's interesting. Lefty Hardtail, one of the World Series drivers. Come along, giving it a go and seeing what he can get on with. I think you're right there though, GT5 King. Currently on board with Curly Whirly and Breaking Clays. Obviously we don't want to stay focused on them, but with Tarjam in the background, comfortably holding on to these two as they battle. You just noticed there, Breaking Clays is struggling like no tomorrow in the fast left and right hander there, as you brought up with your comments. He's understeering like crazy, so I bet this man can't wait to get to his first stop and get that wing changed if he's planning to. But Curly Whirly, very, very close now. A move could be happening.
Yeah, we just want to also add Maznat and RDB. RDB got ahead of Maznat. I think Maznat got wide into turn 5. But Maznat looks to be quite close to RDB now. Maybe he could be looking for a move into the hairpin. It's a very, very long hairpin. Or not hairpin, long straight. And I don't think he's actually quite close enough unless he can do it Daniel Ricciardo style overtake. Oh, he's going for it.
Oh, his wing's gone now.
His wing's gone. I think he did not move to the right whatsoever. He did not change his line. Went straight to the back of him. And I think he has to pit now. He's lost pretty much half of his front wing. And yep, he is pitting now, which is a wise move, but not a wise move on RDB.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. Breaking Clays just clouted Curly Whirly. And this has opened it up for Tarjam, who's getting closer, but Tarjam's suffering with some oversteer. He still knows that he can get these positions, but that collision, I just jumped on board with Breaking Clays, and all you heard was a smash.
Not good stuff there. It might be the conditions playing part into it. I mean, in the last 3 laps I seem to have caught everything with, I suppose, the broadcaster curse. Every time I jump on board when you guys talk, something's going on. Kane's in the barrier, this man's hit this man, and it's not looking good, but yeah.
I just wanted to say, I think the weather conditions are getting worse. I think we might just see the full wet soon.
Yeah, the rain has fallen a little. It's getting a little bit harder. I can see what you're saying there. It could be interesting. Maybe it's just a bit of weather, a bit of mix, a little bit heavier, a little bit lighter later. Be interesting to see if anyone gets brave enough to make that call
Oh,
as
Cully
this
Wally,
race.
he's on the inside of braking clay. Sorry to interrupt, but as wheel to wheel on the main straight, on the long straight anyway, and it looks like I don't think Cully Wally has the straight line speed that braking clay has. But will Cully Wally make a move into the hairpin? Well, I don't think he brakes late enough.
He's showing his nose though, isn't he? He's putting a lot of pressure on braking clays.
Yeah, definitely. And braking clays is still hanging in there. Also wanted to add quickly, Stocky was actually catching up to Caribbean Crushers, I think, being much behind them at some point, but lost the time in the third sector. But yeah, Mercedes power catching Red Bull power, it seems, in the top four.
Oh, it is indeed, and yeah, Caribbean Crush up in front. I am keeping an eye on that, guys, and he's my teammate, so I'm liking this at the moment. Believe you me.
Well, you know, if they do well in the reserves, they possibly don't do well in the Wayne League race.
And Caribbean Crush, if you've now been cursed, you know who to take it out on.
I'm evil. We've discussed this.
No, but
Oh, Curly.
yep,
What
Rob.
is
I think he's going to lose
going?
the position to Tarjam.
Yep, big mistake there. I believe he tried to brake late. Unsure if there was a bit of squeezing going on there from braking clays, but that has allowed Tarjam, who's been sitting there patiently, to slip through after a mistake. So if he can just hold off Curly Whirly, who we know is a fantastic World Championship driver, he can put some pressure onto braking clays and see what happens here.
Masnat has just pitted, he's fixing his front wing, and he's not going onto the full wets. He's sticking with those inters. I think he's happy with how they are right now.
Okay, thank you very much for the update there, Lord JB. But Tarjam, who's just got past Curly Willy, might be on the verge of losing the place to him as they come round the long right-hander. Curly Willy may find himself on the attack before the hairpin. He looks to be just putting his nose up the inside now as they come down to the back straight. Tarjam seems to have good straight.
Off Tarjam.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm not picking it up on my screen, guys, so I'm unsure about that. But he's got tons of straight line speed there.
Yeah, that's the lag, unfortunately. I think that's put Curly Whirly off. Being on board, I'm on the T-cam right now. I can see the danger sign saying that he's got low connection, and he's just sliding away. He's just jerking backwards and forwards constantly.
Okay, I jumped on board with Curly Willy just to see if this is happening, and I can see the symbol now. You are correct. He has got the poor signal symbol. I suppose we can relate to that. No real lag I can see at the moment. I don't know if it's just my screen compared to your guys, but I hope it doesn't affect the racing, because it's been quite epic at the moment. It's been quite sensible, nice, smart up until that point. So,
Well, the lag isn't necessarily bad, just some jerking here and there. But yeah, obviously lag, especially when you're following close behind someone or when you're battling with someone, as we're seeing it happening a little bit there again, is not a good thing, especially when the car who is lagging isn't ghosting. Then you are basically in trouble. Let's hope Cully Wally won't get affected badly by the lag. Braking clays, however, this is the perfect opportunity for him to try and make the gap between him and Cully Wally as big as possible, but it seems like Tarjam is actually catching up to him.
yeah,
I think that front end damage and braking blocks. Then Curly Whirly going to the back of Tarjam there. That was just a double lockup. Couldn't do anything about it.
yeah. I'll tell you what, Lord JB. If you noticed that it was raining earlier, I think the drivers are starting to be caught out by this now, because it looks like it is getting a bit heavier now, because we're on board with Tarjam just over his left shoulder, as the viewers can see. And the rain, from my point of view, is falling harder, so I reckon the track's getting a little bit wetter now in points, and it's just
Curly's
catching the
gonna
drivers
dive bomb
out.
him.
He's going for
Curly,
it.
oh no, Curly went against it. I thought he was going to absolutely dive bomb him, but he's forced Tarjam into a defensive move, which went wrong for Tarjam. Sector 2, there's been an issue. I will have a look at what that, and that is RDB facing the wrong direction. Mate, you're not meant to be drifting in this session. You're meant to do that in qualifying.
Cully
Ooh.
Wally pits.
Yep. Thank you very much, DC5 King. We're on board. He flew into the pits, wondering where he's going, but be interested if one of you guys can keep an eye on to see if he switches to the wet compound tyre, because
No,
the rain
he's
is.
not. It's his scheduled stop to go straight onto the inters. He must have wrecked his tyres doing that.
Or do you reckon it could be
He's
a
waiting.
two-stop?
Oh, Stocky is in the inside of the Caribbean Crush into turn 5. Caribbean Crush ran very, very deep into turn 5. Stocky had the perfect opportunity, but I think they're still battling wheel to wheel. Just trying to see. Yes, they are going into turn 6 and 7. Stocky just squeezed Caribbean Crush out. It was a crucial mistake there by Caribbean Crush. And it is Stocky ahead of Caribbean Crush, but not. Let's see how long he can hold that for.
Yeah,
My
if you
curse has been enacted.
keep the information coming, GT5 King, because I've just noticed we've got Lefty Hardtail battling RDB, who are two reserve drivers for the World Championship Reserve. So nice little battle there, a little bit of connection there. But if a move happens, let me know and I'll jump back with you, GT5 King.
I was on board with Curly in the pits, and he just seemed, after his tyres was changed, he stopped as if he was going to have a 5-second penalty. The light went green, so what I'm assuming is he must have had a drink and then forgot that he hasn't got a piss test on. So he's had a drink and gone, oh dear, I've got to go.
Ooh, not too
Possibly,
good.
yeah. I think even for me, like, still I get caught out by that, about how you can actually manually put the clutch on.
Well,
Especially
he's
with
come out
WCR.
in a long bit of a long piece of air, a long piece of clear air. So hopefully, long piece of air. That's a new quote for us, isn't it?
For you, buddy. For you, buddy. Yeah, no worries. Well, at the moment, guys, keep it coming if the battling's kicking off elsewhere. I'm currently on board with Lefty Hardtail, who's unfortunately 45 seconds behind the car in front. That'd be Curly Wurly, but he's got RDB 1 second behind him, and behind them two is Maznat, who seems to be on a chargeback. One of our WCR drivers who's only 3 seconds behind these two that seem to be struggling in these conditions at present.
I think he must have not looked at the weather and gone for a dry setup, or gone for a dry setup and hoped for the best. We know Maznat's fast, as his pole was dictated in last week's WS, but I don't think the rain is suiting his setup right now.
Quite possibly. RDB currently half a second off, no DRS in these conditions at present, but Maznat, those two having a little squabble. Lefty Hardtail ran wide in front of RDB, has allowed Maznat in 2 corners to find a second, and he's closing like a missile. So fireworks may kick off for 7th, 8th and 9th in the next couple of laps.
Following
Lefty
Caribbean
went
Crush.
really wide at that last corner, didn't he?
Just a little bit there. What was that about Caribbean Crush, GT5B?
Yeah, just following him. Looks like he was catching up to Stocky.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. RDB has gone straight off at turn 1, and Maznat is now all over him.
He is indeed.
I get too involved in this, don't I?
You like it, it's good. You've got to have the excitement, mate. You've got to have the excitement. It's what makes entertainment, so it's good stuff there. But yeah, we're currently on board with Maznat, who looks to be shaping up. RDB at the moment as they come down into the hairpin, the end of sector 1. Not quite close enough there. This is allowing Lefty. Oh, RDB, where's he going? I might have gone for a drive-through McDonald's there, maybe feeling a bit peckage. And now he's spun in the background, but that's allowed Maznat through.
The gravel, though.
Fair play to him back there.
RDB, what are you doing, mate?
It's not having a good event here this evening in the WCR. But moving on, Maznat now, neck victim. Lefty Hardtail, 1.5 seconds behind. See if he can force Lefty into a mistake there, just like RDB. Anything else happening at the
Lefty's
lead?
doing it all on his own anyway.
Yeah, and they're not having a very eventful race and fighting for positions they'd want to be this evening. But hey, this is where you come along and learn. Lord, if you just want to explain what this event's all about to any of our viewers that are tuning in this evening.
Well, the reason we have the reserves is to feed drivers through to show what they can do. For instance, Tarjan, he's a fantastic driver. We've seen him win races last year, and now he's still in the reserves as he hasn't been picked for a drive as of yet in the main race. But Lefty Hardtail's gone completely off track and let Tarjan through. But it's interesting, and I just wanted to touch upon GG5 King's experience in the reserves. Mate, how did you find it?
Actually, I've not actually been part of the reserves. I'm actually one of the oldies of the FRR, considering I'm only 22 in age. But as I think RDB's completely lost it, so I had to completely. No, I think he's given up because his enters. If you see his enters, they're completely down. They're pretty much slick tires now. I actually realised that the enters can do that. And I think he has retired.
He's doing
He's given up,
burnouts.
and I think he has given up. I'm not entirely sure what he's doing, but I think he has been messing up. But anyway, yeah, as I mentioned there, I'm one of the oldies of F4R. I actually joined back when F4R actually started, and at that point we never actually had a reserve championship. We only had, it was actually only one championship we had back in the day. So, but it's great to see the reserve championship. Well, not necessarily championship, but you know what I mean. Doing quite well. It just shows the drivers are not only quick but also consistent, clean. And those drivers, especially one I can name, 10th year, Mr. Hamilton 44, world champions in the in FRR. Um, Basically, yeah, taking the experience from the reserves and taking that on board and becoming world champions in the league, and that's what we want to see.
That's very, very true,
I've
though.
got to pick a new question now, haven't I?
How's
Okay,
me?
alright, here's a question I came up with about halfway through your talk. Have you ever used anyone from the reserves?
As in, that's a good question. I think I have. Um, I think I did actually. In fact, yeah, RDB just retired there. I just saw. But anyway, I think I have actually back in 2015. I used Yasin for the Spanish Grand Prix because that was actually to the Italian Grand Prix in real life. That particular day, so I don't think I actually use reserves that much, but I do keep an eye on them, just in case the situation comes that I can't make a race and I need someone quick to keep up with. Well, I was gonna say keep up with my pace, but my pace isn't necessarily that quick to keep up to. But yeah, it's reserves are interesting to say the least, and I do try and keep up with them as much as I can to see whenever I need a driver.
Very, very nicely put there. So, with that in mind, there's a little bit of discussion there about how the reserves work and what they're used for, etc. But if you're interested in participating in non-assist racing, this is the World Championship Reserve. So, just come along, give it a go. If you enjoy it, feel free to sign up and keep coming back until you, hopefully, one day get your permanent seat, because that's how this works as a feeder league. And the likes of myself, Lord JB, have come from there, so it is possible. It doesn't take that long. It's just luck of the draw, really. But other than that, as GT5 King was explaining there, it's right. It's what it's all about. Come along if you're needed. Say if I couldn't turn up to next week's event, I would look to one of these guys from this event this week. So always a way of rubbing wheels against the World Championship and World Series drivers, because it works in both departments. So moving on, guys. Have you seen anything kick off? Because it looks like the field.
Wow!
Oh,
Sorry. Mansnat just got a snap of oversteer coming out of the hairpin, and he's been sliding around a lot today. He just almost went into the dividing wall between the hairpin, between the left-hand side of the hairpin and the right, but he's kept it on track.
Yeah, I think Lefty Hardtail has struggled to understeer and braking. He ran right going out the hairpin, and I think particularly now is the time for the drivers to pit with the inters, the grooves into the tyre, which is set to clear the water of the track. You see Lefty Hardtail again understeering. He's trying to find some grip, was not necessarily there. And I think it is time, as he gets slapped by Stephen Stocky. I think it is time for the people who have not pitted yet to pit.
Yeah, well, both the Red Bulls have come in. Not line of stern though. They've come in with enough gap so they can get serviced and get out without impeding each other.
Yeah,
That moves Tarjam up into second place.
it does indeed. Currently on board with him, he's 18.5 seconds off Stocky, who's continued on for another lap. So is Tarjam. I believe they are the only two left to stop, and Tarjam looking for a one-stop. Interesting to see how the likes of Curly Whirly get on with their strategies and see how this progresses, because looking at the gaps, it looks like Tarjam is going to come out into a bit of a fight around Breaking Clay's Danny Railton area. So interesting to see how these guys get on. But yeah, looking good, looking interesting. This is the non-assist side of racing, so the likes of Lefty Hardtail at the back, he's one of our World Series drivers, used to a couple of assists I believe, so it might be why he's struggling. And given the conditions, one hell of a way to start season 8 of front row racing. So,
Trial by fire.
say that again.
There's a trial by fire for Lefty Hardtail.
Oh right.
Or trial by water in this case.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know if you're noticing, guys, but it seems to me that the rain has been picking up more and more as this race has gone on. It doesn't seem to be easing at all.
I think it's carrying on, but it's draining away enough that you're not getting need for the wet tyres. It was a lot harder earlier, but I think it's cooled down a little bit, so the drivers can see a lot better. As one of the things they added into this game is that we get the vibrations, or it comes in and out of focus if the camera gets wet, like it would do in normal F1. So it's interesting. I don't know where we're going with that, to be honest, but you know.
I don't know if you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. Lefty Hardtail out on the softs.
No. Ooh, that's
What is he
interesting.
doing?
It's not. You know, I'll sit on board with him. You guys go have some fun, and I'll see what he does.
I've just checked the information, and it would be saying Lefty Hard Tyre is on a set of soft compound tyres. So, me and GT5 King are seeing the same information up on our screen. He's gonna have some fun on them.
I can confirm he is on soft tyres.
Wow.
It might be for the hell of it, because hey, his back end went to say hello there. His back end tried to see his front end, and it's going again. Yeah, this is not time for dry tyres, Lefty.
That might have been a little bit of a mistake there, but who knows? Lefty, one of our experienced drivers, got to be a mistake. As you guys said, Tarjam's found himself in the lead now with the likes of Stocky and Caribbean Crush in close company. He still has not pitted. We're on lap 14. Is he going to go half and half, or you know, is he hoping for a bit more heavy rain? But who knows? We'll see what he does as he comes round. Different places, different screenshots I'm getting, guys. 1 minute it looks heavy, 1 minute it looks light. I don't know what it's like for you guys, but yeah, coming down the back straight now. Let's see what Tarjam's got and what he's going to do. Coming down to the hairpin, he's gone very, very defensive, very early. Either that will try and keep the tyres cool. Very, very early on the brakes. Doesn't look like there's any attack from Stocky behind. Tarjam now looking to exit. Is he going to fly off into the pits and allow Stocky and Caribbean Crush to get on their merry way? Or it looks like it.
Yeah, there he goes.
There you go, straight into the pits. But that's allowed Caribbean Crush to close onto the back of Stocky, because before the pit stops, I think Caribbean Crush was around 2 to 3 seconds off the back of Stocky.
Also, what could add braking clays when he pitted, he didn't have to change his front wing, which is a bit brave of him. Not to change his front wing.
What he could be doing is trying to train himself to know where to drive with a broken front wing in this in these conditions. That can help, and especially around China, it has a little almost homages to other tracks, seeing as the corners can be taken at almost the same gear. So if he trains himself, then he can somehow avoid having to lose all that time pitting with the broken front wing.
That's not actually a bad shout there, Lord. I'll give you that. You never know what the drivers are thinking or what they're planning or what's going on. Obviously, with the likes of this Stocky, Caribbean Crush, Curly Willy Breaking Plays, they're all got their permanent seats. So this is just a complete and utter test session to them, and see what's what with what goes on for them. Looking at the orders though, guys, is there anything happening elsewhere? Because I'm currently on board with the leaders. It seems to be nicely spread out as far as I can see.
Yeah,
I think apart from Caribbean Crush and Stocky, we're all very spread out. We've just seen Lefty Hardtail. Oh, Maznat getting on the curb at the last corner, almost losing it. But Lefty Hardtail has retired. I think his run of playing with the soft tyres annoyed him a bit.
Ooh, not good stuff there, not good stuff. Just noticed Tarjan may have made a bit of a mistake there, because old Danny Relton's closed in about over a second, maybe 1.2 seconds there. And Tarjam's losing a lot of time, so I don't know if he's had an incident. But yeah, Caribbean Crush, Stocky at the front, both got permanent seats, putting on a great show for us this evening. The likes of Tarjam and Danny Relton and Maznat still participating in the race. They are currently our top and only 3 reserve drivers in this event, guys, would you believe it? So as long as they finish, they've got a
Stocky's
spot.
round wide, going into turn 1, sorry, and giving the opportunity for Caribbean Crush to go right behind him. the pretty much gearbox to front wing now. Stocky made quite a crucial error there. Let Caribbean Crush close the gap even more, but I think Stocky just about got away with it. But one more mistake, and I could see the Red Bull go past him.
It is indeed. Nicely updated us there,
Dave's
GT5 Key.
sitting here secretly waving his Go Caribbean Crush flag.
I wouldn't say that. I won't go that far, Lord. Seriously, I won't go that far. But no, I'm smiling. Currently on board. Haven't seen much of him in the events as such because we've been concentrating on reserve drivers. But because the field's spread out, we thought we'd keep an eye on the battle up at the front because it's actually looking like quite a tasty battle. Neither one of them's letting each other go.
Dave's getting even happier because if he sees that his driver can follow behind another and hopefully get past, then he'll be very happy.
I'll be happy come next week. I've actually managed to get some practice in, Lord, whereas Australia last time I got 0 practice in. I wasn't happy, so yeah, it should be a good event next week. And if my teammate keeps this up, well, watch out. I think the Red Bulls will be on the podium, both of them.
Well, here's a question because we're not really filled it in. Breaking Clays. How was Breaking Clays? What the fuck am I on about? Sorry. Excuse me.
We'll bleep that out and give Lord a ticking off later for that one, guys. We do apologise, folks. Carry on, Lord.
We fired a bit more. That's the coffee coming back. What's your name? GT5 King. There you are.
Yes, hello.
How was your race last week?
Horrible.
I got there eventually.
I think I was actually on the same boat. Before I talk about it, Caribbean Crush actually ran wide, going out the last corner, which pretty much neutralised the gap between him and Stocky, and now he has to go through that all over again. But yeah, I think I'm in the same boat as quite literally the same boat as Coming to Get You. That I got hardly any practice in whatsoever for the race last week. I think probably gone about maximum 3 hours, and it showed I was completely. I think in the dry it was okay, and qualifying, but in the race, I was all over the place, and I was close to getting the points, but yeah, I think that definitely was a reminder to me that practice helps.
Well, could be worse when you think about GT5 King. I mean, we put no practice in. Don't know about you, I picked up a couple of points. It could be worse. Kane Leander, turn 10, last lap, threw it all away. So, but yeah, feel free to have a nose at that one, guys, if you want to see a bit of an entertaining race, because it had a bit of everything in that event. So, yeah. But moving on, guys, have you seen anything entertaining?
I don't think I swear in that one either.
No, you don't.
I don't normally. I don't know what's wrong with me today.
Slippered as a tongue, as they say. It just slipped off. But no, we'd give you
teeth
chicken
fell out
off later.
together.
Yeah, the owner will be on your case. joking. But no. But as I was saying, it's one of these things. It's bit of an eventful race, but like last week, it's one little incident, isn't it, GT5 King? I don't know if you suffered from it. Opening lap, World Championship last week. One incident, similar conditions to this, and the field was blown open before you know it.
Yeah, I think I nearly got away with an incident in the first corner. Tapped Jamie James to the side. My car went into the half spin, but managed to keep it. But I did manage to go into last place. But I think majority of the incidents which I was a part of was mainly just me, like just going too fast into a corner, losing it, braking part of my front wing, and also forgetting to change my settings to yes when it comes to changing my front wing, because even if it's at auto, it isn't changing for you, which I learned last week.
It's the biggest pain ever, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. And I think.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. Tarjan's just gone straight on at turn 1. He's managing to keep it going, but that's our reserve leader just almost sliding off into the barriers.
And that's allowed Danny Railton to close up on him a little bit there. So I believe that little instance cost Tarjan, as Danny Railton just keeping his rear in check. It's probably closed up about a second and a half from that one little moment.
Yeah. And just quickly continuing on to my Australia story.
Yep.
I won't be a story, I promise. I think I pitted 3 times my front wing. First time I forgot to change my front wing. Second time I did change my front wing, and then my third time was just a normal pit stop. But I think I easily lost 40 to 50 seconds just by pitting, and if I didn't do that, then I would be in the points. So Yeah, always make sure you change your front wing, folks, when you have damaged it, because you never know what will happen.
It's very,
I
very
mean,
true there. It's had the
oh,
similar thing there.
Caribbean Crush. 3-second penalty there. Don't know
Now,
if
Didn't
I've
actually
seen
know it showed that
calls
up. That's kind of interesting. It shows that.
yep, that's a new
Oh
little
yeah.
feature. You get them all as they unfold throughout a race. I believe Lord JB and the likes of
Yes, you do.
Overdyke in the events that they were commentating on had great fun at watching the penalties pop up everywhere.
I think it more popped up in our short test session we had 2 weeks ago around Silverstone. I'm still really annoyed that I didn't get pole there because I could have done it. But just touching on the front wing issues, at least you didn't crash coming out the pit lane like I did.
Yeah, I was surprised I didn't do that myself. Yeah,
I got on the grass and just planted it into the wall. I was so annoyed with myself, as my recording would show. But I'm feeling very cornered now between two WC drivers and I'm a WS. So, racing is difficult, and it isn't a sharp learning curve to jump into the league racing from the reserves, but it is. And if you're not as quick as you think you are there, then you're gonna suffer. You need to know where you're gonna be and how you're gonna fight. I was massively off the pace in Australia, so I'm hoping coming here next week I'll be a lot better. And if I can coax Dave into doing some practice with me, I should be able to do well.
I need it, just in case you guys
I
didn't
think-
see last week.
Yeah, I think personally for me, I would see the reserve drivers having a bit more pressure on them to perform, because obviously they want to impress the league, they want to impress drivers that may potentially use them. If full-time league drivers aren't available for a race, so definitely reserve drivers do want to perform to make sure that they can land a reserve seat in the championship or series, and then hopefully after that a full-time seat.
Exactly right there, GT5 King. That's why in these events we ask the permanent drivers of the World Championship, or tomorrow night's event, the World Series reserves, if we have World Series or World Championship drivers participate in their said areas, we ask them to behave, because as GT5 King just touched upon there, it's about these guys trying to prove themselves and come in, have a good time, and enjoy it, because they never know when they get called up. One thing that you did touch upon though, Lord and GT5 King, if I had to pick a reserve for me, I'd try and make them as comfortable as possible, you know, send them a message, telling them what they're needed to do with the rules, but also just go and have fun, just go and enjoy it, because this is what you're going to be up against if you ever get a permanent seat. So
It is interesting, and to be honest, I had a reserve lined up for my race as as my teammate told me that he couldn't turn up, and my reserve decided to duck out a bit close. So if you know that you're gonna have time and you're a reserve driver, please just say that you can do it. But if something comes up, don't tell them at the 11th hour, because it gets annoying.
yeah,
Not a jab at anyone. I'm just saying.
notice
you know.
is a bit appreciated, but yeah, if you can give any drivers that may pick you for a slot or whatnot a bit of notice on what's what and what's not, it does help them in preparation going into their live event, because every point in that league is crucial for getting your car choice in the following year.
Just jumping onto the track, because unfortunately for us there is a race going on. We can't just do our normal chats like Dave and Steve were doing recently. Shameless plug there. Curly Whirly has pitted and dropped behind Tarjam, so we can see fresh tyres versus Tarjam, slightly warm ones. He's already catching him very well, but he's weaving a lot in the road, either to cool his tyres or to try and break the slipstream. It's not excessive weaving, but that will be, for me, I'd send him a reminder saying, just hold it down if you've got a car behind you, because you could be breaking the slipstream.
See, me, I'd kind of swing the opposite way. If the driver's sort of a few car lengths behind, that's not aggressive or intentional, it's just a gentle try and break it, and put the car off behind off their stride. If he was a bit closer, I'd kind of be on the same page as you there, Lord. It could be a bit naughty, as they say. So, but no, you're right, we are on board with him. It's getting a bit interesting. Curly Whirly, how much pressure is he going to put on Tarjan, who's currently in third and doing a cracking job on the one-stop strategy, guys?
He has. It's going to be difficult though. I don't think he'll have as much tyre as he would have liked coming into the last couple of laps, seeing as he's making a few mistakes himself just with understeer as well. The tyres just taking a lot. Well, he's gone very sideways there, but his tyres are taking a very big beating from these weather conditions. It just seems to be sliding a lot everywhere. The understeer is incredible coming off that Ferrari.
It is indeed.
Also,
We've
just
got
noticed that started breaking Clay's pitted for some reason. Not entirely sure why. Maybe he wants to go for a final assaults. I think Tarjam got overtaken by Carly Raleigh there. Yep, they are battling. Finally, a battle to see on track. And I think Carly Raleigh's just gone.
It was a battle, but Curly's a rocket ship.
Yeah, and now Carly's away.
Yeah, a battle you might have just missed there. We were on board with him, GT5 King. We saw the overtake. It was a little bit of. No, crack on. If you see it, shout it out. We were lucky enough we were on board with it. He just had a little bit of a moment coming out of the double left-hander, and that allowed Curly Willy to get the run on him. So it's a shame. It's a shame. Danny Railton in 5th, a little bit behind. But the next car to look like it's going to come under a bit of pressure now is Danny Railton with Braking Clays on the move.
Just something, I just wanted to run through the current podium, which is either in this order or another way is going to be our podium anyway. It'll be Tarjam with Braking Clays and not Tarjam with Danny Railton and Masnat on the podium right now, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that is correct. We'd have, currently if it stayed as it was, we'd have Tarjam winning the reserve event, Danny Railton coming in 2nd with Masnat coming in 3rd. Only 3 remaining. We've had 4 DNFs in the likes of Lefty Hardtail RDB, Kane Leander and Lord JB did not start, but he is a listed DNF.
I had to run from the car to get up here quickly enough. I'm sitting in my McLaren gear right now. It's not as comfy as you think it is.
No, all hot and sweaty and whatnot. But yeah, here we go, guys. Braking Clays, pressure now on the shoulders of Danny Railton. Braking Clays flying through the left-right hander as we speak. Should be an easy move. Line it up for the back straight down towards a hairpin, but given the conditions, it's been tricky.
You know, I'm on board with Braking Clays, and I can hear his tyres sliding around. He's not got the traction I think he'd like it, and Danny's just pulling away as well as slowing down. So he's quicker in the braking zones, but Danny just seems to get the traction quicker.
It could be indicating Danny's gone for more of a mechanical grip, because his car does look more stable, excuse me, coming off the long right-hander, and Braking Clays at the moment just has the benefit of the tyres being fresher. But here we go, we'll see what straight line speed Braking Clays has got as they come down to the hairpin. He's gaining bit by bit. Fresher tyres, he's going to go for it. He's looking.
It's a Ricardo move.
Nicely done. Very fair by both drivers there. And you can see Danny Railton's traction as Curly Whirly sets a 148.7, coming back at Braking Clays on the fresh inters. So maybe a battle that may progress towards the end, but the next victim for Braking Clays is the next reserve, Tarjam, 6.4 seconds up the road.
Yeah, I would be surprised if Braking Clays didn't go for the overtake there, but I think he was thinking about it. Oh, I'll just go for it. And yeah, he was nicely pulled, and GG to Danny Railton for giving him space.
Exactly right. Lord? Yep.
I just wanted to touch on something whilst we were watching that. I did vocalise that's interesting. Was that Stocky and Caribbean Crush both pitted, so they must be having. They must decide that they want to have a fresh tyre about through the end of it. I mean, they had the gap. They might be trying to get Curly Whirly involved to see how they can fight in the series next week. In the championship next week.
Yeah, it could be interesting. The conditions that have cropped up this evening for the reserve drivers and some of our permanent drivers could be the conditions we see next week. I hope not. I'd love just a fun-filled, packed, dry race for myself, but Codemasters like to throw a bit of spice in the air every chance they get with weather conditions. Little bit of an update though, guys. I don't know if you're still on board with Danny Railton. Braking Clays isn't running away like I thought he would on the fresh inters at the moment.
No, he isn't. But I was on board with Danny coming through that section they've just gone through, and Danny seemed to have lost a lot of time. So I think his downforce on the front was cut off by Braking Clays, or Danny's tyres decided to wear.
No, it's just very relevant there. I mean, any insight that we can give, it's another thing. Obviously, GT5 King's new, and he's doing a cracking job on comms tonight, guys. First time I've worked with him, and he said he's been done it before. But any information we can give over the broadcast, Lord, like feedback for these guys that may watch it back, is any sort of tool that they can use to improve their driving skills, and then hopefully one day end up like rubbing wheels with the likes of yourself in the World Series, or GT5 King and myself coming to get you 85 in the World Championship. So any little minor details you see like that, guys, feel free to blast out there, and anything you may improve upon as a driver yourself, because any tips for these guys go a long way in building front row racing.
When they normally rub wheels with me, I normally meet the walls, so I don't like that.
Okay, don't go near Lord JB's, ladies and gentlemen.
wrap me in bubble wrap, please.
Yeah, but yeah, no worries. It's lap 24, guys. The field again seem to have spread themselves out. I was actually looking at breaking clays, making some M-roads into Tarjam, but Tarjam on older tyres seems to be holding his own with a gap of 7 seconds back to breaking clays. So that's interesting.
He has, but Tarjam just locked all 4 tyres coming just before the long right-hander. I don't know how he managed that, but he just did.
Ooh.
Just something I wanted to pull up. We should probably start mentioning about the project cars too, Lee.
Yeah, I mean, if you would like to give a shout out about what's the plan going forward on that, Lord JB, on the broadcast right now, because the race is quite stretched, there's no real battles going on. If you'd like to give any information out now with how that's going forward and where we plan to be in the next sort of couple of weeks with it, feel free.
Well, in the next couple of weeks, as I am now the admin running that league, I do apologise if it interferes with the original plans that Front Row Racing JS had. But I released a vote, and we're now running Indy cars. I have a list of tracks which we're going to be running. 5 ovals, 5 street courses, as they're dubbed. So we're going to have some fun with that. We need more drivers, though. That's the thing. We need more drivers. We don't have enough drivers to go racing right now. We don't have enough to do test sessions. Not enough to make it interesting, at least.
So yeah, going forward, as Lord JB was touching on with the Project Cars area, if we have more people that are involved, feel free to drop us a message down at Front Row Racing. That's where we deal with Project Cars and the Formula 1 side of it with the World Series and World Championship. And if you're interested in either of the 2 games, Project Cars 2 or Formula 1, drop us a message and we will line you up in the relevant event. But the plan is, I believe, Lord, you're looking for about another 3 to 6 drivers before test sessions can be held, if I'm correct?
Pretty much, yeah. I can... Ooh, Danny Railton has just had a snap oversteer and just almost hit the wall again. Why can I not talk in these events? Why does everyone have to do something whenever I start talking? No, we need 3 to 6 more drivers before we even consider test sessions. It's not relevant to run 4 cars around an oval, because they'll just end up with 4 cars in different points. We're not too sure on the setting side of things. That's why we need the test sessions first. Once it gets going, I think it's going to be a really fun event just for people to come in if they want to and just blast around an oval for about 40 minutes. Just have some fun. But there will be a championship involved with it. There will be points, and it's going to be a good race. After 10 races, if we have time, we're going to swap cars and go for another event. But I cannot reveal what that next car is yet.
So there you go, guys, ladies and gentlemen. If you're interested in coming along and giving Project Cars a go, sign yourself up and we can start the test sessions, and then Lord JB can kick it in motion to get the league going live. So, but other than that, guys,
small little beg here. Please join.
There you go, guys. Lord JB with his words of wisdom there.
Like a puppy. Please come play with me.
We're on lap 26 of this event, guys. The field's still spread out. I've noticed Caribbean Crushers made a little bit of M-roads into Stocky's lead. Other than that, we've got the current order stands with Stocky in the lead, Caribbean Crush in second, 2 seconds off the lead, Curly Willy in third, 13.7 seconds off Caribbean Crush. Tarjam, our first reserve driver, 10.3 seconds off Curly Willy in third. Then we move down to Breaking Clays, one of our World Championship drivers, 5.2 off Tarjam. I thought he would have made bigger end roads into Tarjam there, but he hasn't, so Tarjam's impressed me with his performance today. Then behind Breaking Clays we have Danny Railton in 11.7 seconds behind Breaking Clays in 5th. Then we move on to Maznat, who's bringing up the rear. He's had a very, very bad event today, but he's 1 minute 32 seconds off Danny Railton as it stands. So that is our current order as they come around to sort of finish off the last couple of laps as it stands.
I just want to put something out there that'll make Dave smile again. Caribbean Crush has the fastest lap of a 1:47.7. So, how quick do you reckon you'd be able to go in this conditions yourself, Dave?
In these conditions,
Or you, GT5 King, whichever one wants to have fun.
Yeah, in these conditions, I haven't turned any wheels around China myself. I've done a bit of dry setup work, so it'd be a whole new ball game, a bit like Australia was for me. But over to Bleeding, sorry, apologies, GT5 King on his thoughts on it.
Yeah, I'm on the same, quite literally on the same boat as Dave there. I've not done much, well, hardly any tyre practice at all, never mind in the wet. But I think this, like, personally for me, probably will be the same for you guys as well. It's kind of interesting to see how these guys are attacking the track, and maybe it's something that we could sort of bring into our own driving style and sort of see how we can implement that and how we can drive China as well to benefit us.
That's exactly right there. I mean, I don't know about you, GT5 King, but every time I participate in one of these events on the comms, I've got a notepad out next to me with a pen, bit of paper, writing down a few pointers and tips as I go. You never know when it comes.
I haven't got one yet. As an admin, I should get one. Dave, when's mine arriving?
When's your what arriving? What, your notepad?
My notebook. Ow!
You're not getting one. No, but I've just jumped up on board with the two gentlemen up at the front. Stocky's still leading. Caribbean Crush 1.2 seconds behind him, and he's on the hunt as they come around to start the final lap. If anything else kicks off elsewhere as the field looks spread out, guys, give me a shout. But I'm going to follow these two as it could be an entertaining final lap showdown.
I'm just gonna nosy something. DS Virgins just replied to my comment on Facebook, so I'll read that later.
Here we go, we got Caribbean Crush on the hunt. He's looking at Stocky. Stocky's one of our World Series drivers who may be participating in tomorrow evening's event as well, with some of the reserves over there with the assists. Caribbean Crush, the World Championship driver that's transferred over, so should be interesting to see how these two guys go head to head in this final lap, given they both run 0 assists now. Stocky's still doing it in the World Series, so fair play to him. He's got some stiff competition over there. But yep, Caribbean Crush looks like a man that will make this move any chance he's given via Stocky, maybe making a slight mistake or him getting the run. So great performance from everybody this evening. Unfortunately, we did lose the likes of Lefty Hardtail, RDB and Kane Leander with DNFs, but it's just a practice session to Kane Leander, and Lefty and RDB are listed as reserves. But just one of those things with the World Championship reserves, there's no assists. You either find your feet or you don't and have a bad day in the office. But Caribbean Crush, guys, is right on that gearbox of Stocky.
Well, I just want to say something quickly. You could be even happier now because your driver, Caribbean Crush, has just gone a tenth faster last lap. I was sitting on that for a while. So he's on a 1:47.6 now. But yeah, he got a little bit out of shape down there, didn't he?
Just a little bit. I think the old boss's bum cheeks clenched a bit on the old pit wall then, but it's a practice session and all. Looking good though, Stocky's covered it.
Sat?
No, I'm not sat there. I'm up here with you guys. But coming around the final corner, it looks like Stocky's done enough to hold off the likes of Caribbean Crush, who have, yep, no real run there. Stocky's taking a win. Now we jump back to Curly Whirly with Caribbean Crush in second. One of our WC drivers and WS drivers, Curly Whirly, one of our World Championship drivers, coming around, had a bit of a difficult race from what it looks like. But it's just a test session to himself and he's had a nice little event, so fair play to him. As we look back to Tarjam, who has now got Breaking Clays, who has finally made some inroads. Either that or Tarjam's turned down his engine, as in so he can just get it to the line in 4th place. But he's done a cracking little job there. Finish ahead of Breaking Clays, one of our World Championship drivers, so well done Tarjam there. Breaking Clays coming across the line in 5th. Looking back further down the field, we've got Danny Railton, who's about 23.6 seconds off the likes of Breaking Clays, as Maznat has now crossed the line, 1 lap down to the guys on the lead lap. So this will be Danny Railton coming along to finish in 6th place and bring up the rear of the grid. A bit of a, I don't know, spread out field, not as attacking as we would have liked, guys, but what's your thoughts on the event today?
I'll let GT go first.
Well, I think the first half definitely was an entertaining one. Second half, not as much, but yeah, definitely the battle between Cully, Breaking Clays, and Maznat. No, sorry, is it Maznat? I can't remember his name. Something Jam.
Oh,
I
Jam.
can't remember. Yeah, him. Sorry, really bad of me. That was really bad of me. But yeah, it was an interesting battle between them in the first half of the race, and after that, just sort of cooled down a little bit. But yeah, it was an entertaining race.
It's one of those ones, I mean, I found it quite interesting. Nice bit of mix up from the drivers there. Conditions made it a bit spicy and interesting. Shame we didn't have a few more on grid, but yeah, good all round race, and it was good to see the likes of Tarjan, who had a little bit of a fight with a couple of World Championship drivers there. So what I'll do now, guys, is I'll run through the finishing order as it stands. In first, we had Stocky. In second, we had Caribbean Crush, a nice little battle they put on for us. In third, we had Curly Wurly, followed up by Tarjam, who's our first place WCR driver, finishing fourth. Breaking Clays, a World Championship driver, finished in fifth in the Red Bull. Danny Railton, another one of our WCR drivers, finishing in second. Reports say sixth though, with the official results. And then Maznat, bringing up the rear, one lap down, finished the event though, and he finished third out of the WCR drivers. So, Lord JB, if you would like to invite our podium sitters in, that would be Tarjam, Danny Railton, and Maznat, and we will let GT5 King start the questions off with Tarjam with his little mix-up there.
You know,
Oh,
I've
God.
just finished, as you said about it. I was just finishing sending them off.
Good man, good man. That's what I like to hear. So we currently have Maznat in the podium with us. Maznat, if you can just make sure your microphone is allowed to share, and yourself, please, Danny Railton, just make sure it's allowed to share. And we will wait for Tarjam to join us if he can. And we will allow...
Yeah, that's all three of them.
All three of them's here, that's good stuff. So, GT5 King, over to you, buddy.
Yeah, definitely do have questions for these guys. I don't know if that's sarcasm or not. But yeah, top three of the World Championship reserves are here. Well done, guys. First of all, to Tarjam, well done, man, for a rather cracking race, particularly with the World Championship driver. How tempting was it to go just a little bit faster and try to get them in the first few laps of the race?
يا ريته بيعمل بزنس من وراها هيدا قد ما ينام عليها ويسمع.
Tarjam there.
Yeah, he's here.
You with us, Tarjam? If you are, could you make sure your microphone is allowed to share, please, fella?
He's having a lot of background noise right now. I'm not sure if he's talking to
كنت
someone
عم
else.
بشكي لك كنت عم بشكي لك هم عندي البركي بيطلع من أمرها تقول لي
Okay, if...
Oh, he's gone. Oh, Danny's gone. I do apologise. Maybe we should go back to Tarjam.
I'll tell you what we'll do at the moment then. We will go in reverse order, and if we would like to start with Maznat, I will leave it to one of you two to fire some questions and see how his race went.
ضاين نهار الثاني مفكر
I don't actually have any questions from Maznat, so if you guys have some...
Can you hear me, guys?
Hello, is that
Yeah,
Tarjam?
we can hear you, Tarjam. How are you, mate?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
هلا بعد ما سكرت مع عليا فتت عملت ربع ساعة بس على
I don't know. Maybe my video I have a cam, the VR cam, so maybe the microphone is set to that also.
Oh, you're on VR, were you?
Yeah, I played the rally on VR.
Okay, I'll tell you what we can do is we can hear you now, Tarjam, is I will hand you over to GT5 King, who will fire some questions while we have you with us.
Okay, hi Tarjam. Really good to have you back with us. So we've seen that you did have quite a good battle with the championship drivers of trying to remember now, Breaking Clays and Collie Wildy. How was that battle, and was it tempting to go just a little bit more quicker to try and pass them in the first few laps of the race?
Yeah, I was saying that that was my first race in wet. I never practiced in wet, so it was a challenge. I'm sweating. It was raining all over me in real life. I don't know. I'm sweating like hell. So it was a nice battle. It was a very bad start for me. The first set of tires, the balance was good. The second set was not that good at all. So my rear, I was losing the rear always. But yeah, it was fun with curly and breaking keys. So I hope I didn't hit anybody. I hope it was a clean race. I was drifting all over the place.
Yeah, you weren't the only one. It's going on to where you talk about being clean. Yeah, I think you're one of the World Championship reserve drivers who are actually very clean. We're quite happy to see that. Also, another question, not necessarily related to tonight, but more to last week. As I understand, you were part of the first round of the World Championship race in Australia. How was that as a reserve driver for you?
You're talking about Australia. You're
Yeah,
talking about
Australia.
Australia. Yeah.
Yes, last week.
Yeah. No, I didn't race in last week. I raced already in the result. I didn't race in the championship race because
Oh,
before
okay.
the range
I thought you.
was
Okay, I thought you did. Never mind. But have you guys got any questions for Taja?
That was my friend, a fun road runner.
I
Oh,
will
okay.
pass over to Lord JB, and once you guys are finished, I'll move on to Danny Railton.
So I do apologise. I was in a mid conversation. I don't know if GT spoke to you, Tarjem, about the about your setup. How did you find it jumping from a dry qualifying to a wet race?
Actually, I had a setup for dry only, so I was driving with the dry setup. That's why I was drifting. But as I said, my first set of intermediates, it was very good. I managed to do a one stop, which was a surprise for me. I was almost like 68% on tire wear, but my rear was hanging over. The second set, my rear was like I'm driving on ice. I don't know what happened. Maybe my differential setup got screwed. Sorry to say this, because I had the F1 Ferrari wheel, and those knobs near your fingers while driving it touches it. So I don't know. Maybe that changed. So my second stint was terrible, but I had fun fighting with Curly. He overtook me with a mistake I did in sector 2 before the long right-hander. But yeah, driving in wets on a dry setup, it was fun.
That's all I have for the Tarjam. Dave, you got anything?
No worries.
I have to say one.
Go on,
Sorry,
Tarjam.
I have to say one thing. I drive from cockpit, so my view of the rear car and sidewise in that Ferrari is tough. So again, I apologize if I hit somebody with my rear or with my side box.
No, that's fine, and it's interesting to hear there that you use Cockpit Fan. So that's good stuff. Fair play to Charjam. Just want to give you congratulations on finishing on the top step out of the reserve drivers today, and we hope to see you here again. But right now, I'm going to move over to Danny Railton. Danny, are you there?
Yeah, all right, mate.
Yeah, not too bad. How did your race go, going from dry qualifying to a wet event? So talk us through it, fella.
To be honest, I found it all right. I've been in that position before, so it's not like it's something new. Yeah, just got on with it. Tried getting through the pack, but I just seem to be trying to catch that Tarjam through the full race.
No worries. It seemed a bit of an eventful race. Given the circumstances, looking back at your race, would you have changed your setup in any way, or would you have still ran the same race you did today?
Well, yeah, because I don't go on the game much, so I ain't been having much time to try and get a setup that's proper for the car, and I've had to use a dry setup for today's race, which didn't help me.
No, fair play. But you knuckled down and got through it as best you could, so that's the main thing. We did see some of our permanent drivers who unfortunately didn't make it to the end. So fair play, fella. Well done, Danny. And I'm going to hand over to GT5 King.
Yeah, hi Danny. Just one question from me. We've seen in the first few laps of the race that you had a battle with your teammate. Can't remember his name for some reason. And it didn't actually end the team probably wanted it. How was that battle? We only caught some of it, but yeah, how was that battle with your teammate in the first few laps of the race?
Yeah, that battle was pretty early on, but I managed to take him. But the only problem he had was when he retired his car seemed to get stuck into my pit grid. So once I changed my tyres onto that second set of intermediates, I had to stick with him all the way to the end of the race, which I'd done about 18 laps with him.
Ooh. That might be something we need to investigate then.
Yeah, I don't know why it was doing it, but every time I tried to box, my team was just saying it's not available in my pit at the minute, and I was trying to pit for the last, 8 laps. My tyres, I think my rears were on 85% each, they was ready to pop.
Never heard of that one before.
But I still managed to get it to the end just, so...
I mean, you still got a second place out of it, even with your issues with your team. It might be that you just need to smack Bob her back foot, Bob and back of the head. Just say, get him up my pit. Just one question from me. When you were dealing with your oversteer, we saw you sliding around a bit. You weren't sliding as bad as your teammate RDB, but you seem to be having a little bit of fun seeing your back end a bit. Were you worried you were taking your tyres out too much?
I can't hear you that much because I can hear something in the background, someone talking.
Yeah, I believe this Tor Jam. If Tor Jam's there, is it possible if you can mute your mic? I think we are hearing some background noise from you, so just when we need to talk to you again, then we'll let you know, and you can unmute your mic then.
But that's my wife talking.
I've muted him now anyway,
Okay.
so...
No problem.
I'll mute my mic.
I was just wondering how were you enjoying your sliding around a bit around China? So your back end wasn't as stable as you would have liked it to be.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the early set, the first set I was able to play around with the car, but the second set, once I knew I couldn't get in that pit, I just had to try and get to the end of the race without blowing the tyre, because you can blow a tyre, that's the end of the race for you then, isn't it? You aren't going to get out of it.
Yeah, especially in the wet. The blowout definitely is not the thing that you want.
Yeah, I had a fun race. It was interesting.
That's good stuff to hear. Well, well done, Danny. It's good to see you on the podium again. I think we've seen you up here quite a few times now with the last season's event you had and this season. So you're doing a cracking job, fella. And we hope to see you participating more and hope to see you up here. I hope to see you rubbing wheels with me one day. It'd be quite entertaining with the non-assist side. So congratulations. If these guys have got nothing else to add for you, I'll allow Lord JB to move on to Maznat.
Yeah, I was hoping you'd do that, because Maz was sending me messages. Maz, we know it's a horrible race. We know you're frustrated with it, mate. Can you just run through what you think went wrong?
Oh, I slept in to start with. Sorry about that for being late, by the way. Yeah, and preparation was just not good enough. I didn't get a chance to practice in the wet, and yeah, it was just horrible from the start. So yeah.
So, your setup, were you running a dry setup, or was it just the base setup that just wasn't working for you?
No, it was a dry setup. I just put the wings up a couple of clicks, and that's really all I could do with no wet practice. So normally I have some practice with Curly and a few other boys throughout the week, but I just didn't get a chance this week. Makes it hard with time differences and whatnot. So yeah.
We know it's a struggle, but just a little congratulations from me. Welcome to the WS. Please don't crash out next race.
Thanks, bud. Just rub it in a bit more.
What you don't know is that me and Maz talk a lot over messages, so we're making jokes between each other. GT.
Yeah, I don't necessarily have any questions, but more for comment. I think it's pretty good, considering the fact that you did have not as good of a race as the others. It's good to see you still never giving up and crossing the line, nonetheless, considering being a lap down. That's what we like to see. But yeah, I believe you are. If you are, for example, being part of, I don't actually know who. So you're part of the WS, I assume, for series.
Yes,
Yes.
correct.
So
What Lord JB was talking about, I was in the lead last week and I stacked it just on my own accord. um, so he's just given me a little bit of banter there. It's alright.
Well, you didn't
Get
get a
his
chance
own
to talk on
back.
the podium last time. I had to put it in.
That's alright. Yeah, I look
mean,
forward to both series. Obviously still learning with no line, and looks like I've got some pretty good pace in the WS. So look forward to learning in this league and hopefully being up there in WS.
well, I feel like personally for me, and when I learned how to not use assists, I felt like it was easier to use no traction control than it was to remember the breaking points of a track. Because obviously it's traction is pretty much the same everywhere. You just need to remember to basically be careful of it, but breaking points aren't always the same around the track. So
Yeah, the
yeah.
only assist I use is the racing line. I don't use any other assist.
Okay.
Um, so it's just the racing line that I have to learn and hopefully get a lot better at.
Cool. That sounds good. But yeah, I'm hoping to see you at some point in the World Championship. Uh, at some point as reserve. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, no, great race there, Maznat. Not one of your best ones, but we know you're more than capable of delivering when you're given your opportunity. So it's not. I haven't really got any questions for you. Just want to give you the congratulations. So well done to all three of our podium sitters. It's more of a surprise. I've been holding this back. I haven't announced it with the admins, but I don't think a lot of people have paid much attention. We actually have 2 vacant seats at Toro Rosso in the WC, and I was using this event to see who's who, what's what, going forward to fill those 2 vacant seats. So it's more of a surprise for you guys to keep your eyes on Facebook, because there's an opportunity there that you might get offered a World Championship seat.
Awesome.
Silence. I like that.
Silence.
Everyone's like, oh my god, I don't want the seat. No, just like congratulations to you, Maznat. It was not a great race, but you got to the end. And then we got Tarjam, who had a nice little battle with some of our permanent drivers, and Danny Railton, who had a nice little mix-up battle in the middle. So congratulations to you all. Is there anything else that GT5 King or Lord JB would like to add before I round up the show?
No, just that it's good to be back in the combox, and I hope to speak to you guys at some point, well, hopefully throughout the rest of the season on the WCR.
Okay,
Well, just
Lord.
one thing, please join the Project Cast League.
I don't actually have. But I'll
No
let you know.
worries. Well, anyway, guys, just round it up now. Congratulations again to all 3 podium sitters. A fantastic race, a few mixed conditions. It'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow evening with our World Series event. Same time, we will be live. Different drivers. It will be assists tomorrow evening, though. This has been the non-assist. If you're interested in coming along, giving it a go in either of our reserve events, that's the World Championship Reserves or the World Series Reserves, drop us a message on Facebook, and we will look to get you involved in the racing as soon as possible. Other than that, Lord JB, give a quick description about Project Cars 2 and what's coming up with that. If you're interested in joining that, drop us a message at Front Row Racing on Facebook again, and Lord JB or one of the admins that are available will be in touch, and we will get you listed and hopefully get you guys on a test session as soon as possible. But we have been Front Row Racing. I'd like to thank GT5 King for joining me on comms this evening, and Lord JB, who seems to have made himself rather comfy here. So, yep. Good night.
Wait, you're not changing my chair, are you?
If GT5 King keeps putting in performances like this, you're out, mate. Sorry, you're out.
I'm sorry, Lord.
Well, I think I'll go back to America with my Indy cars. Come on, Tess.
Joking, joking. You're more than welcome to say Lord JB, you know what you're doing. So, but yeah, thank you very much to GT5 King for joining me on comms and Lord JB. I've been FRRC2GY85, and tune in tomorrow evening. You'll have the likes of Bleeding Sunrise and Co on comms with the World Series Reserve, and then next week we will go live with round 2 of China with the World Championship and World Series. Good night, God bless, hope to see you tomorrow.